Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Honorable Minister of Finance, but before I come to you, Honorable Putu, congratulations and welcome to Parliament. Honorable Nakachinda, in the same vein, sir, I salute you, I congratulate you. My advice, colleagues, is that we stick to the Zambian people. Usually as members of this House, our patriotism gets misplaced. You become more patriotic to your party and not the Zambian people. And for our colleagues who may join us by way of appointment by the head of state, caution again, because the same hand that appoints has the ability to disappoint.
Order. The honorable member has given his congratulations, and indeed they are in order. But beyond that, he's not allowed to debate the members of parliament, how they came to the House and what might happen. The honorable member will continue with the debate focusing on the budget. Continue, honorable member.
Much obliged, Madam Chairperson. Honorable Minister, your ministry is the one that anchors all ministries. Very critical. I must confess, Madam Chairperson, that when the Honorable Minister made her statement last week, I was committed in Mr. Speaker's committee. But I was able to review it in the last hour. And it's important that I leave committee and just say a few things about what she said. Your ministry, again, Madam, is critical such that what you say, your inconsistencies and the consistencies have an effect on the business environment, have an effect on the lives of the Zambian people. You recall, Madam Chairperson, that in 2017, her predecessor came to this House and announced what the PF dubbed Zambia Plus. It is worth noting from the very beginning that all the targets that they set out on Zambia Plus have failed. They've underperformed on all the critical issues that they committed to the Zambian people. You may also want to know, Madam Chairperson, that her relationship with the IMF is one of the areas that this Patriotic Front government has not been honest. In 2017 again, or is it on the date when the President of the Republic of Zambia declared a state of threatened emergency, he is quoted even in the government tabloids where he said the IMF can leave. But as early as 2 months ago, if not less, she was attending IMF meetings. As far as we are concerned, the head of state chased the IMF. So what discussions are there? Again, at the instruction of Mr. Speaker, I had the rare privilege on behalf of the Zambian people to sit with the IMF just in the last few weeks. And they stated quite clearly that there are no discussions of a bailout deal. But again, her ministry has been misleading the nation that a bailout deal is on the horizon and it's coming. That's not true. You can't expect that kind of pronouncements from a Minister of Finance. Put it exactly the way it is. The Zambian people, I can tell you, Patriotic Front. Okay? Because when we criticize you, you come back and say, we are spreading hate speech. The people will remember more what they are going through under your leadership or your misleadership than what we say. Because we are speaking for them. I get animated when politicians do not speak the truth. Because when we utter untruths, Madam Chairperson, what happens is that the rest of the nation cannot trust even good politicians like the UPND. We all get affected. And that's a big problem. Our people are now insecure. Our people are now afraid because they have failed to inspire the nation. That aside, I want to also talk about how this ministry has been disbursing funds. In her last statement, it's very glossy and very nice to listen to. But she leaves out critical things that the whole nation needs to know. Are we aware, honorable members, that when it comes to education disbursements, we only disburse, as a nation, 1% of our GDP. If I'm kind, 1.1%. And we are last in the whole of Africa. Last, the whole of Africa. Patriotic Front, what are you doing to this country? How can you be last in the whole of Africa? And yet, every single day, we get pronouncements from you saying the working government of somebody with initials called ECL. Last in the whole of Africa?
Last where?
What kind of leadership is that? 1.1% is what this government allocates to education. It's unacceptable. Their disbursements, Madam Chairperson, are a sham. I recall, we sat in this August House exactly a year ago, approving the 2018 budget. Your government, leader of government business, allocated 154 million kwacha to women of this country and the young people and the youth. Do you know what happened, Madam Chairperson? They've disbursed 0%. Nothing for the women and the youth. Youth empowerment, you have failed to disburse. Why? But then in contrast, this is what you've done. And I'll remind you, I'll be kind enough to do so. Foreign travels and allowances to top government officials, those of you seated there, you've been able to disburse more than 100% of what was allocated in this house. It's clear, Madam Chairperson, that now we know the priorities of this government. Emoluments to yourselves, allowances in travels, which reminds me, you've recently spent, and we brought it to this house, we asked why you were buying an aircraft for the president. Why were you procuring a new aircraft? You are at pains to explain that the head of state needs to stretch. Stretch! Really? At the expense of the Zambian people. Why should the president stretch? Prince Harry, Madam Chairperson, was in this country just a few days ago.
Not a government official.
And on a private plane. Not on a private plane. A commercial air flight.
Ignorance,
But the president of the third poorest country in this nation, in this world, on the planet, deserves to stretch on a plane? She made a pronouncement in the last few days that the Zambian economy is expected to grow between 3 and 4%. Compare and contrast that with our colleagues in Tanzania. Their president, their government, their GDP growth is between 6 and 7%, but he is flying the economy. But our colleagues know they have to stretch, I can assure you. I don't know, yeah, the Madame the Minister of Religion is here. Please remind your colleagues that they will reap what they sow, because it's biblical. When the Zambian people, Madam Chairperson, cry for better health, this is what the PF government does. They go and procure ambulances. 70% markup for themselves. The people have no one to cry to, because that's what they've done. This is the first time, Madam Chairperson, that I will speak about the far tenders, the 42, 44, 42.
On top of procurement. Can you prove that?
The Honorable Minister of Finance, take a seat, will take note of those issues, especially the statistics that are being given, and appropriately respond. I also want to believe that the Honorable Minister of Finance is more than able to handle the issues that are coming from the left. The Honorable Member for Kapiri Mposhi will continue with his debate.
As you've guided, Madam Chairperson, they will be given an opportunity to respond. Before you guided that I sit, I was reminding them about the fire tenders. It's the first time that I'm commenting on this. And I hope the Minister of Finance can respond, because she's responsible for disbursements. Madam Chairperson, $42 million at today's rate is 504 million kwacha. For emphasis in the old money, it's 504 billion kwacha. Dear colleagues, that kind of money is colossal to spend on fire tenders. And I want to demolish those that were protecting government on this grave expenditure, depriving the Zambian people. 504 million kwacha, Madam Chairperson, actually means, especially for you, my colleagues who are coming from rural constituencies, it translates into 127 boreholes per constituency. Life-changing projects. That's what they don't want. Because there's no money for them to get. It also translates, Madam Chairperson, into 100 deep tanks for our farmers per constituency. All constituencies, 100 plus. That's what they should have done. But no, this is not, they are not that kind. They are not that kind. They know themselves. The Zambian people are listening. The last thing I want to say, Madam Chairperson, and this is important, is that I want to remind the Zambian people that the PF have been consistent in their conduct. Within 12 months of being voted into power, they went straight for the Eurobond. They went and borrowed. No plan for that money. 12 months. Then Deputy Speaker of Finance, the mayor now, was out. Renegotiating.
Deputy Speaker, did you say?
Pardon, the current mayor of the good people of Lusaka.
And his position
Deputy Finance Minister at the time, thank you for the correction, was out there negotiating for the Eurobond. And somehow, okay, this is what happened. The country had a tradition of releasing reports on the debt position every 3 months and every year. The last report we got in that order of consistency was in their first year. We've had several ministers of finance. They've all consistently not released reports on a quarterly basis, even on an annual basis. They don't wish to do that. If everything is calculated, Madam Chairperson, these people have to go in order to bring up the Zambia that we know. I thank you.